Then I'm gonna show you guys the disgusting, pathetic display by Mehdi Hasan that people are pretending is an L. So this is what started. The person deleted the tweet because I'm sure that Matt Taibbi does have 2 million followers. So after he quote tweeted this person probably getting destroyed. I know what he said. I'll read it. I know what he said. You guys gotta take my word for it. I know I always try to show evidence, but just take my word for it. This guy was like, "Come on, Taibbi, just take the L, man. Just take the L." That was all the liberals were saying in his response because it was like this is obviously coordinated, 100% coordinated. If you guys don't think this was coordinated, if you're on Twitter right now, you see what the hell's going on. Like Aaron Monte, Glenn Greenwald, and a few others on the front lines fighting this bullshit, right?
I see that. That's how I found out about this. That's how I found out. It was Aaron Monte actually. I just saw a couple of tweets like he was going at it. I was like, wow, what the hell's going on? And then I heard it from you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they all the shit lives, all the blue checks, including like Sam Cedar, Cenk Uygur.
Wow, Sam Cedar, it has woken up his Twitter thumbs? Really?
Well, they're live. They did a live talking about it. And I sent you a screenshot where it was like Matt Taibbi fumbles the ball or something like that. I'm like, are you serious? Now I'm gonna show you guys when I get to the video. There's a few things I would have said in Taibbi's. Well, I think I'm not gonna say I would have said it because it's hard. I've been there, guys. It's hard in those situations.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I would have said it. That's a bad way to say it. But things that would have been helpful for him to say, I probably would have froze too. Like, maybe I'm not gonna say I would.
No. Like if you did this research, we'll take one of your articles, right? Take one of your articles. You did research. You know all the research you did on those articles that you put out. The Obama one specifically is the one I'm talking about when you're comparing them to Martin Luther King. Like, it's not the same. Like. And then somebody brings you on their show, you not knowing anything. You just, they're going to talk about your article. Then they go, hey, let me tell you, you see this thing, this date you have here? You say 1966. Let me go ahead and bring it here and then bring some other receipt where you actually have some sort of typing error, some sort of error. You would be kind of like, oh man, like you would be kind of like, where you don't remember making that mistake. It's like, wow, I did that research. Yeah. I thought I hit every detail. So that look to me was the look he had on the screen when I saw the clip. Because I did see the short clip. I haven't seen the full debate.
Oh, yeah, the full actually says a lot more. And for the people who are confused, take the L, take the loss. Take the loss of trending on Twitter because liberals after this, because I saw Mehdi Hasan. It was like 2 hours in, guys. Mehdi Hasan 2 hours in. His clip had 40,000 likes in 2 hours. 40,000. You guys don't. You cannot tell me that shit is not fucking. And I'm saying not rigged. I'm saying there's group chats, like liberal group chats. They all part of this big circle. They're like, hey, Mehdi Hasan.
I'm saying somebody paid for that. That's what I'm.
Yeah, the algorithm boosted him. Like it's. No one can.
Either way, I'm not saying literally got the service, but like that way, like the algorithm is getting it, pushing them up. That wasn't organic. Basically, in other words, it wasn't organic.
I may get to do clips. I'm actually curious to see how many likes it has now. But I'm gonna get to the story. I think I'm prefaced this enough. Matt Taibbi said, "No, I will not take the L. I misplaced acronym in a wrong date." And remember this guy. This is hilarious.
That's it.
Aaron Monte and Glenn Greenwald is calling this out. Remember this thought because this is what they consider a giant win. It don't invalidate the months of important work nearly a dozen journalists, including myself and others, have done. So with that said, I actually want to dive into the video because it's a longer video. I'll see how much we get into it. It's 29 minutes. It's longer than most MSNBC videos. So when I first saw that, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, here we go. Because if you guys don't know, they had a Twitter spat like a few days before this, where Mehdi Hasan sneak dissed Matt Taibbi, and Matt Taibbi was like, why don't you just invite me on to discuss the Twitter files then? And then Mehdi Hasan went silent. I remember thinking like, Hasan, you pussy, why don't you invite him on? Then he actually did. I'm like, oh shit, all right. Because Mehdi Hasan wrote this book, like how do you win every single debate. I don't know if you guys seen that. He been on this book tour. He just dropped this book, How to Win Every Single Debate. So think about how narcissistic you are to believe that you can write a book on how to win arguments, and the professional managerial class ate that shit up, CJ. I saw segments on corporate media where they brought him on, where they're like, "Oh, Mehdi Hasan, explain us your technique. How you win arguments." He's like, "Actually, it's pretty easy. All I do is do blind bait, blah 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 blah. All I gotta do is blah." I'm like, this is horse shit. And now he wrote this book, and Google it if you guys are interested. Mehdi Hasan, how to win every single argument, how to win every single debate. So now Mehdi Hasan is about to put those skills into use right now. You guys want to see? You guys want to see how Mehdi Hasan wins every single
I'm
debate?
so scared of what I'm about to see. I'm so scared of what's about to happen.
You guys want to see the tactics? Anyway, he does a long intro kind of explain the video. I think it's worth watching. It also helps people who are not up to date to the story catch up as well. So during the intro, let's let it play, and then they're gonna dive into the debate after they do the intro. So here it is for people not 100% up to date.
The world's most powerful investment bank is a great vampire squid wrapped around the face of humanity, relentlessly jamming its blood funnel into anything that smells like money. That was how, in 2009, Rolling Stone journalist Matt Taibbi famously began The Great American Bubble Machine, his 10,000-word expose on Goldman Sachs and its considerable economic influence at the height of the Great Recession. The vampire squid was an indelible image, and it was textbook Matt Taibbi. If you were like me back then, you loved reading his blistering takedowns of America's worst villains. In 15 years at Rolling Stone and in occasional NBC and MSNBC appearances, Taibbi won lots of fans and awards for skewering anyone who shafted a little guy from K Street to Wall Street. But if you listen to him these days, he's telling a different story.
I spent 10 years covering the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis. That was obviously a very serious issue, but this Twitter file story and what we're looking at now and what we're investigating now, I don't think there's any comparison. This is by far the most serious thing that I've ever looked at.
Look at the narrative that Mehdi is painting. Just quick. Look at the narrative. What have changed about Matt Taibbi? What happened to you, Matt Taibbi? You see the narrative that he painted to the audience right off the jump? Matt Taibbi used to be one of the good ones, and now he fell into the right-wing rabbit hole. Let's continue.
Well, hold on, because this is how when you're a partisan, this is how you have to explain agreeing with somebody who's unpartisan. Sometimes this is how you have to explain it, because they obviously was pumping this guy up before when he was saying things that wasn't necessarily against just the Democratic Party, right, or benefiting the Democratic Party. Then he's fine. He's okay. But when you're unbiased and now you're saying something that's against his team, now what changed? He didn't change. You see in the intro, he said he's singing a different tune. I'm asking you guys, what changed? Whether you like Matt Taibbi or not, he calls out the intelligence state. He focused on civil liberties, call out imperialists, and he's not partisan. Nothing about him changed. Mehdi Hasan had changed. Mehdi Hasan went for someone who used to call out Barack Obama for his war crimes to now he's a Biden Democratic Party bootlicker. If you guys don't know, that's how Mehdi Hasan made his name. He was oh my God, I'm the young progressive. I want to tell the truth about Iraq. I want to tell the truth about Palestine. And that's why he was friendly with the progressive left. The second he got an MSNBC job, the second he was accepted by the establishment, he immediately pivoted. And it was blatant, out and open. This is old news. Like 2-3 years ago, it was obvious. Like, yeah, Mehdi Hasan's gone. Like, he became a full Russiagator. And now the guy who... I think that's what Matt said in the interview with Due Dissident. I think Matt Taibbi said that's where the pivot was the Russiagate. When Russiagate started to come out, it wasn't like out like where everybody was a buzz. He was kind of looked at it, and he was just like, it doesn't seem like, it was a bunch of anonymous sources. He was like, this seems really flimsy. And because he didn't kind of go with and pick up the line and continue with the rest of his colleagues, he was kind of, left out of the invitations, kind of left behind because of Russiagate. And that's what happened to him. As long as you see how journalism is used in this way, Nick. If you only bring on journalists, if you are always bringing on the same journalist, that's because that person that keeps saying the same thing you want them to say. Are they a journalist?
Now, you're gonna see the disdain in Mehdi's assessment of Matt Taibbi here, because it's almost like, damn, I sold out to get my position. I sold out blatantly to get my success. I'm a millionaire, got a lot of fame and followers. Matt Taibbi made a lot after all this, got 2 million followers on Twitter, and you can tell there's a disdain that like Mehdi Hasan and those people, they tell themselves that I had to take this route. At least it's me, or it would be someone worse. Now, when you see someone go independent, someone on Substack, and someone who did not take the corporate route, they're a disdain. Like, that motherfucker, you think you're better than me? and you think I'm bullshitting. That tone and that theme, you see play throughout the course of this debate. Now I'm gonna let it continue.
That I've ever worked on personally.
Yes, the Twitter files, quote unquote, 19 releases of select internal Twitter documents provided to Taibbi and other reporters and activists after the social media site was acquired by tech billionaire Elon Musk, remember him? Which made seemingly explosive claims about the politicized blocking of the Hunter Biden story, as well as allegations that Twitter shadow banned conservative accounts without cause. According to Musk and Taibbi and his reporting colleagues and the Republican House majority, those files show Twitter colluding behind the scenes with feds, NGOs, and yes, Democrats to silence critics. A new woke McCarthyism through digital censorship.
One of the first examples of Mehdi misquoting Matt Taibbi, but we'll get to that soon.
Democrats used to care about protecting First Amendment free speech rights too. Now it's like, okay, if you're attacking, and I said this on the House floor, I said, don't think they won't come for you. Oh, the big tech, big media, cancel culture, they may come for Republicans and conservatives now, but the mob is never satisfied. They will keep coming.
But critics say the Twitter files don't come close to making that case, and that they also are a product of questionable journalism.
Can you pause it? Can you pause it?
Look, and CJ, I want you to take I want you to take on this, because it's gonna be obvious what Mehdi does here. The Twitter files are giant because it shows how the State Department coordinated with Twitter and social media to censor and literally kind of shadow ban people who talk about Ukraine. It also censored people who debunk the COVID narrative. So there's giant substantive things there, but Mehdi Hasan completely overlooks that and ignores that. And he makes it all about, oh, you guys claim that Republicans were censored on Twitter. And I said on my analysis here, that's the most boring part of the Twitter files. The most substantive part of the Twitter files is what they expose regarding censorship regarding Ukraine and the COVID narrative.
Right.
That, at least to me, right? There's so much shit dropped, but from what I've seen, a lot of shit was boring. The shit that was interesting and the most damning is the Ukraine shit, the COVID shit. And watch how Mehdi never mentions that. And Matt Taibbi at one point tries to bring it back, trying to like, yo, why are you ignoring this part of the story? Actually, you guys see. But CJ, you want to chime in before I let it play?
Yeah. It's because he's saying critics.
Yeah,
these are all corporate clowns. Like, who don't? I meing, these are the people who was requesting this shit to come off. I mean, what are you talking about? Like, he's trying to paint the picture as if this is the false equivalent that people want to say. Oh, there is no two sides to this story. There is no two sides to the Twitter files. We have the state that it has forcibly coerced a private company to commit censorship. And then we have people who are so-called the left who are fine with that.
Yep. I'm gonna let it play because we got a lot to discuss here. I'll play that part again. Look at the propaganda technique. We said critics say. You mean you're interjecting your opinion now? Interjecting the opinion that was planted to you by your liberal bubble, and the reason why you're there because you follow those orders, and that's why you claimed the Hunter Biden laptop was fake, and that's why you was caught Russiagating as well. Which I got a screenshot. Aaron Mate gonna call him on there. I got a lot to discuss. I'm kind of going out of order. I need the video play because the first 12 points I don't want to spoil yet because it gets good. It gets good. So let's
don't come close to making that case, and that they also are a product of questionable journalistic ethics gifted to Taibbi and others by a billionaire with access and a right-wing political agenda, and then rapidly weaponized by conservative media with little regard for the facts.
The Republicans have brought in 2 of Elon Musk's public scribes to release cherry-picked out-of-context emails and screenshots designed to promote his chosen narrative, Elon Musk's chosen narrative, that is now being parroted by the Republicans because the Republicans think that these witnesses will tell a story that's going to help them out politically.
Is the Twitter file story as big, as damning, as revealing as its proponents claim? That's what we are going to debate today. Because in some ways, Matt Taibbi has become the man of the moment, with nearly 2 million Twitter followers, tens of thousands of paid subscribers to his Substack blog, and Republican lawmakers hanging on his every word. The man who used to gleefully heap abuse on the outrage industrial complex on Fox now appears regularly on that very propaganda network he once so wonderfully lampooned.
Nick, can you pause it here?
You saw earlier of Taibbi.
It's so funny that he's saying on a propaganda network as he's using a propaganda tactic here.
Yep.
And the tactic is that the thing, if you're throwing a red flag down by showing any content of Fox News to an MSNBC viewer. So what he's doing is like, look where he's going, guys. He's over at the propaganda station. Look how many times why he's putting the number of screens there. That's what he's trying to do. To basically, he's pulling emotion. He's trying to say, take your logic out. Insert this emotion. That's what propagandist is doing, and that's what he's doing here.
Yeah, and listen to this bullshit here, because I'm gonna show you guys the lie here that Mehdi Hasan later says when Matt Taibbi called him out for Russiagate. And you guys see that soon. And Hasan like, man, I wasn't here when we Russiagated, but you got here and you continued the Russiagating. Like, he denied the Hunter Biden laptop story because he said of Russian disinformation. You continue the same legacy. He pushes and lies about the Ukraine war all the time. But let's continue the video, okay? It gets worse. Like, once the debate starts, it gets
testifying in last month's Republican-led hearing on the weaponization of the federal government. He says that on that day, the IRS visited his New Jersey home to tell him 2 years of tax returns had been rejected. We reached out to the IRS, but they say they can't comment on individual cases. So, late last month, Matt Taibbi asked me on Twitter, where else, to invite him on the show to debate the Twitter files and free speech and Elon Musk. Now, I've mocked him in the past for doing PR work for the world's richest man, and he's accused me of being an ardent establishment moralist. Great line. But today, I hope we're going to avoid the name calling and
watch this part. This slimy scumbag. I should let it fin. Listen to this part.
Asked for doing PR work for the world's richest man, and he's accused me of being an ardent establishment moralist. Great line. But today, I hope we're going to avoid the name calling and keep it civil as I put my questions to him.
This slimy scumbag says that to disarm Matt Taibbi. Because, as I'm going to show you in this debate, he was no way in shape civil at all. He was extremely rude and hostile. He said this in the beginning because he wanted to take Matt Taibbi's shield down, and then he proceeds to be an extremely passive-aggressive scumbag throughout the course of this debate. And this performance, I'm going to let it play here, shows in a professional managerial class is cheering this on because they love this mean girl shit. They love this professional managerial class dressing down of a journalist. And you guys are gonna see what I'm coming with.
Let me also comment here because I'm just gonna be honest, and I love Matt Taibbi. I don't have any necessarily critiques of him, but just him personally, like how he is not he's a genuine. He seems genuine, so his reactions are. He's not trying to hide any. You get what I'm saying? And they're capitalizing on him genuinely not knowing. Oh, I didn't know about this error that was on there. His genuine reaction as if he is feeling like as if he's feeling like defeated, and that's not what it is. He just genuinely didn't know about this particular error that he pointed out, and it's terrible how they're using the fact that Matt Taibbi may not be the best debater. He may not. I'm just being honest. Yeah, but it's not the style of debate. It's the substance of what he is saying. Is the Twitter files a big thing? Yes. But the left is the so-called left is always arguing, Nick, the right-wing side. How is that? since the pandemic, this shit has been completely flipped. But back to the video.
Taibbi, a national magazine award-winning journalist who runs the Racket News Substack and broke the so-called Twitter files story, joins me now. Matt, thanks so much for coming on the show.
You can tell he was upset about that intro.
These Twitter files are so important, and what should our viewers know about what's in them that they don't know? Just briefly, your top lines.
First of all, I never said anything about woke McCarthyism, so do you want to take that back?
I didn't put that in quotes. I said a so-called woke McCarthyism. Jim Jordan has also talked about that, and that was a line into Jim Jordan.
Can you pause it there? He just pointed out propaganda, and then what he did is plausible deniability by saying, I didn't put it in quotes. It's plausible deniability, but if he didn't bring that out, he would have left that for his audience to believe that was a quote.
Yeah.
And he just called out. I just wanted to make that point for people to see that was propaganda, and he just got plausible deniability there.
Yeah, and why you guys think he interjected that? And there's an exchange on Twitter where he proved that he never said or used woke McCarthyism, but Mehdi Hasan interjects that so that would program the viewer, his liberal viewers, thinking, "Oh, this is a right-wing culture warrior." Yeah. So that is 100% on purpose. But Sam Cedar's not going to see that. The Vanguard apparently not seeing that, right? The propaganda they're doing is so low and so disgusting. But let's continue.
I think it's a digital censorship complex. Industrial
digital McCarthyism, not woke McCarthyism.
Okay, digital McCarthyism. We can correct that. Yes.
Okay, good. So you started off as I expected with the whole "what happened to you, man" routine. Well done.
He points it out.
So yeah, these are, I think, the rest of the stories.
I love that you point out. What happened to you, Matt Taibbi? What happened to you, Glenn Greenwald? I don't know. It's the same principle. The only thing is that you guys became Democratic Party hacks. You went from questioning the Iraq War and the Zionist narrative to now you like a fucking Ukrainian bootlicker.
This is the same thing, Nick, that they do to Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore, Cenk and Anna decided, oh, this is making some good money, this TYT. Let's go ahead and hitch ourselves to the Democratic Party. They decided to do that, and anything that betrays that alliance, then they have to go, oh, you changed. You notice that's the same line they use on Jimmy Dore. What? Why has he changed? Because there's a ton of footage of them with him. Yeah. But go ahead, back to the video.
Yeah, so we're just getting started. Look at this.
The stories speak for themselves. I don't have to talk about how important or not they are. The audiences are interested in.
That's the mistake that Matt made. So I don't want to be too critical here, but you're on MSNBC. You have a chance to break this news to an audience that never heard the shit that came from the Twitter file before. When he asks you what in the Twitter file, that is when you interject that, and you do not allow Mehdi Hasan to change the topic of the discussion. You guys know what I'm saying? Like when I went on the Hill, like I immediately was like, oh, I know what audience I'm on. I'm immediately hitting with hard fans about Venezuela. I know they're not gonna hear before. So Matt Taibbi should never back down from him. And I get what he's doing because he's like, it's not my job. You guys should look it up. You should Mehdi Hasan, you should be explaining, but you should be like, man, this is your opportunity to really bring the heat talking about what they censored on Ukraine, censored regarding the COVID narrative, censoring protesters. Like, man, this is what you should have brought. Because now you leave an opportunity for Mehdi Hasan to pivot, which he's going to do too. Now it's not going to be anything about the substance in Twitter files. It's going to be about professional managerial class errors and presentation complaints. So once again, I think this is a missed opportunity, but overall, I think Mehdi Hasan go ahead.
Because, like I said, you could tell when they finally brought Matt on, you can tell he was upset in his face. So he let his emotion get to him. I mean, it's happened to me, but maybe that's what is happening here. He's letting his emotion. Yeah, I've been there. So he's letting his emotion get to him. So that's why he's staying on that, because it bothered him. You get what I'm saying? It bothered him. So that's why he's trying to hit those points instead of sticking to the question. And this could be a tactic. This is a tactic. And this is why a debate. This is not a debate. If one person has an intro, this is why in a courtroom both people get two introductory comments. Like this is so he came in and completely tainted the audience.
Yes, and that's such a great point, CJ. Because as this video continue, you will see how Mehdi is being dishonest because he uses position as host and abuses it throughout the course of this conversation, constantly interrupting, constantly pivoting, abuses his status as a host to direct the conversation in ways that helps him and shift it away from substance. Mm-hmm. So you guys will see what I'm talking about as the video continues.
And routine. Well done. So yeah, these are, I think the rest of the stories speak for themselves. I don't have to talk about how important or not they are. The audiences are interested in them because of what they show. That there was an organized, systematic structure in place for the FBI and the DHS to talk not just to Twitter and to forward thousands of moderation requests to companies like Twitter, but also to virtually every other social media platform. This is essentially an organized system of quasi-state censorship, and it's alarming. It's a lot more than what we thought was going to be there. And again, people are just looking at what we found. We don't have to make claims about it. They're upset about it because of what they're reading.
Well, not everyone's upset, and you do make claims, so let's talk about that today. And Matt, we're going to disagree a lot today. You've already started with disagreement, so let's start with some agreement. Should the FBI be wasting so much time and taxpayers' money flagging so many tweets to Twitter? In my view, no. Does the FBI have far too cozy a relationship with social media?
This slime ball wrote this book, like How to Win Every Debate. So he's like, man, I'm going to butter him up. First, I'm gonna disarm him by saying, let's have a nice civil debate. And then as you're going to see, he's not going to be civil. Then in the beginning, like, let's talk about what we agree with. Butter him up first. And then you're gonna go for the kill as you weaken, as you relax. So you guys see the dishonest tactics that Mehdi's doing, but let's continue.
But this is not winning the debate. To me, winning the debate is the substance. And what Mehdi Hasan is doing, he is essentially saying, your arguments, I'll accept. He is saying, I've lost the debate. That's what he is saying. By saying this,
the professional managerial
that's
class,
what he's doing. Yeah.
CJ, sorry, but to your point, the professional managerial class, they love this shit, man. And that's why I was like, CJ, I cannot believe this shit, bro, because I saw the video first before the reactions.
So he started the opposite way.
Yeah, you gonna see the desperation. I'm gonna let it play here so you guys see more examples of what I mean here. He sounds so desperate, and he uses so many slimy tactics to any ordinary person who's not in the liberal bubble who's cheering for the downfall in Matt Taibbi. No way Mehdi Hasan looks great here. I'm not saying that they become Matt Taibbi fans, but when you're watching this, it's obvious that this guy in a suit has an agenda for the corporate people that pays him. He often accuses Matt Taibbi of being a PR agent of a billionaire. You work for a company that is financed by weapon defense contractors, and then you apologize for the Ukraine war. You are PR for billionaires. But let's continue.
Agreement. Should the FBI be wasting so much time and taxpayers' money flagging so many tweets to Twitter? In my view, no. Does the FBI have far too cozy a relationship with social media companies? Yes, I agree. But do your files provide evidence of government censorship? I don't think so. Let's just take the very first example you cited. Wait.
Say that. Can you rewind and let it play that? Let me make sure I hear it clearly before I comment, because I want to make sure the wording is right. But when he makes the point, maybe slightly 2 or 3 seconds more than that. Yeah, right about there. Let's see.
Yeah, I'll try it.
Taxpayers' money flagging so many tweets to Twitter. In my view, no. Does the FBI have far too cozy a relationship with social media companies? Yes, I agree. But do your files provide evidence of government censorship? I don't think so. Let's just take the very first example you cited.
How can he say yes to the first two, but no, but the third one is a no? How can the government have too cozy of a relationship? How is it cozy?
Yeah, that
what
doesn't
is
make
happening
sense.
with the how is the coziness expressed? Is expressed through censorship. So what are you talking about? The first two can't be yes, and then the third is a no.
That's like saying, man, I think the police killed too many people. But do I think the police is violent overall? No.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't say that. Then you can't say the first two. The first two are just evidence to prove the third thing you're saying. What the hell?
Yes.
Am I the only one who's and they think he's winning this? He literally, Nick, in 45 seconds has conceded 3 of the points of the person he's debating. Like, how is he winning?
That was so dumb. CJ was like, hold on. Nick, rewind that, please. I got to hear that again. Did he just say what I think he said? Because he was like, and one hand, I think that's completely contradictory. I'm glad you caught that.
Yes. Yes, go ahead.
Let it play, because we didn't catch a lot of these, because I watched this like, man, this is embarrassing performance by Mehdi. Embarrassing.
Which went mad viral. You wrote, by 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, more to review from the Biden team. The reply would come back, handled. Now, that sounds bad, but aside from the fact that the Biden team was not the government at the time, it turns out that at least 3, maybe 4 of those 5 tweet URLs.
No, I'm gonna let it play. I'll let it play.
I wanted to stop it too, so maybe we should stop, because I was gonna say, to pretend, that's like saying Obama is not the government. Are you trying to say Obama's not the government? Get the fuck out of here, man. Then why did they go to Obama to get Bernie Sanders out if he's not the government?
That's
are you serious? Are you serious?
The guy who's running to be president, he's not in the government though. So when you say the government is censoring people, technically you're wrong, because technically he's not in the government. That's the logic that Mehdi used here. So if I was Matt Taibbi, I'd probably be flustered as fuck too, guys. Like, you guys see my boss debate. Like, when people say stupid shit to me, I'll be like, what? Like, I'll be like, I'm flustered. Like, and that would happen to me in this debate too, probably, because that is so dumb of him to say. I would have to. Everything else he said will probably sound like much to me. Charlie Brown shit. Wow.
Because it's so much coming at once. It's like, man, you said so much right there. Like, damn, but go ahead. It'll be.
I'll play a part again. He hammers so much misleading arguments into this. That's why it's very telling that people like Sam Cedar and the professional managerial class are cheering on his performance. 4
of those 5 tweet URLs that you linked to, that they link back to non-consensual nude images of Hunter Biden. Why was it wrong, Matt, for the Biden campaign, not the government at the time, to ask Twitter to enforce its own terms of service against people basically posting?
Matt Taibbi destroys him here.
Why
Matt Taibbi destroys him here? Don't worry.
People question your credibility on this whole project when you omit such crucial context right from the get-go.
First of all, the reason that's important is because the ordinary person can't just call up Twitter and have something.
Sorry, I cut off a little bit early. Dismantled.
Taken off Twitter. If you put something nasty about me on Twitter, I can't just call up Twitter and talk to the government liaison whose name.
Bro, dismantled. Guys, there are people who had fake imitating profiles of me. Like they have like parody profiles. They make them of all the people who like really speak against the government or whatever. And then like people reported it, shit's never got banned. Like, and that's the argument that he's making. Which one of us have the power and clout to literally call up Twitter and be like, hey yo, there's something on here we don't like, and then they like confirmed we did it. You proud of us? No one.
This is the proof, man.
And then Mehdi says, well, he's not in government. So what does that say about the fact that he has the power to do that, and then the government responds? Right. If we did that, imagine if one of us called up Twitter like, man, CJ was mean to me on Twitter. Can you do something about that? They'd be like, who the fuck are you? Get the fuck out of here. We probably could ban you for having the audacity to think we would listen to you. That's the point that Matt is making that completely flies over the head of Mehdi Hasan.
But Nick, he has to let that fly, because that's the pivotal point that makes this censorship. This pivotal point that we can't just do that. This why you can't say, yes, this is a too cozy of a relationship. Cozy in the sense that they can call and get tweets taken down is the censorship, Mehdi. That is the censorship part that you said, no, I don't think it's censorship. What do you mean? We don't have the ability to do that.
So I'm gonna play Matt's response again. Remember, Mehdi was like, how can you claim that Biden, who's not in government, even though he's running to be president and was massively favored by your network to win, he's not in government. He asked Twitter to put down the post. How is that censorship? So this is a response for.
The reason that's important is because the ordinary person can't just call up Twitter and have something taken off Twitter. If you put something nasty about me on Twitter, I can't just call up Twitter and talk to the government liaison, whose name I won't mention on the air, and say, hey, can you take care of this? And have them take care of that.
Yes.
That doesn't work for the ordinary person. The Biden campaign could do it. Donald Trump could do it. But I can't do it. Can you do it? I don't think so.
You didn't answer my question. Why didn't you tell us what were in the...
Oh my God, that's how he's not going to address it. That's how he's not going to address that great point.
So Mehdi, remember, Mehdi wrote a book, guys, on how to win a debate. He's an expert at how to win a debate. So there's a chapter in that book, and I'm assuming just watching this show. There's a chapter in this book. When someone corners you, when someone completely debunks your argument, quickly shift and pivot to another point. Trust me, guys, that is very crucial. That's very crucial. There's an entire chapter, I'm assuming, in the book about it, because that's exactly what Matt Taibbi did. I'm sorry, what Mehdi Hasan did here. So he brought up, Matt Taibbi destroyed your central point on why is
Nick,
that important.
Is the most...
and then he's like, oh, you didn't answer the question, and then pivot to something completely different. This is how you win a debate, guys.
This is the very point, Nick, that completely that closes the debate. This is it is. I don't know if Mehdi is this on the fly intelligent that he knew, like, man, I have to step over that, because addressing that would completely tear apart what I'm about to try to do. So I can't even address that. I don't know if he's just doing it intentionally or if he understands addressing that would be problematic. So go ahead.
Yeah, let's see that pivot again.
You didn't answer my question. Why didn't you tell us what were in the URLs? Because it sounds much worse.
Not what you were talking about. How is that government censorship? You completely
didn't answer the question. What the question? So is his new book How to Win Every Argument by lying? By just making up shit? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just changing subjects just in mid-sentence? Like, what is he talking about? You didn't answer the question. Where are the URLs? This is the first time I'm hearing URLs from him.
So desperate. Let's continue, because you get more desperate as it continues. Because that's the first word that popped in my mind when I was thinking about the performance. Is desperation. He has to win here, guys. This is a giant part of his career. You got Matt Taibbi on. If you lose to Matt Taibbi, bro, the establishment's gonna be mad. So I see desperation out of Mehdi Hasan. I see fear out of Mehdi Hasan. He has to get him. He has to get Matt Taibbi, no matter what, guys. And this is desperation. Let's watch this.
Discover that actually it was simply a violation of Twitter's terms of service, that these were nude, non-consensual images for Hunter Biden. Why not mention that? Did you not know?
The point is that the ordinary person does not have access to Twitter executive to get them pulled, and he doesn't address that. That completely pull a hole, and you trying to make it seem like there's no connection between government censorship and Twitter. That was your premise, and Matt Taibbi proved that wrong, as the Twitter files has done it multiple times. But sorry, let me continue, because I think some part of this debate speaks for itself, so I'll let it continue.
In which case, that's kind of incompetent. Or did you know and you were just hiding it from people?
Look, that's the first thing. Sorry, guys. I apologize. But I'll play that part again. Because remember when he said he's gonna keep it civil? Watch this civility by Mehdi.
It sounds much worse than it is. When you discover that actually it was simply a violation of Twitter's terms of service, that these were nude, non-consensual images for Hunter Biden. Why not mention that? Did you not know? In which case, that's kind of incompetent. Or did you know and you were just hiding it from people?
Now, so Mehdi, his argument was destroyed by Matt Taibbi. So after his argument was destroyed, he resorts to insulting Matt Taibbi because he's trying to get Matt Taibbi off his game. So chapter 2 in the book, if your argument gets destroyed and you're not successful in pivoting, insult the guy and hope that takes them off their game.
I guarantee you it might be worded in a different way. I guarantee you that's in that book. I mean, if he really wrote down a step-by-step and because why would he write how to debate and he wouldn't use those tactics here? Why wouldn't he do that?
Fam. Yes, fam.
Right. I guarantee that's in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, fam. CJ, that's a great point. Fam, I am writing a book review on Mehdi Hasan's How to Win a Debate based on this video. The first ever blind book review. I'm gonna see what the book says based on this performance. So thus far, when proven wrong, first you gotta insult your person, disarmed him. Try to find grounds of commonality to disarm them. Then immediately become passive aggressive. Start, and then as soon as they disprove you, you insult them. You try to pivot. So those are the tactics thus far. So let's continue. Let's see if we can finish this book review of how Mehdi Hasan debates people.
Competent?
I mean, if you didn't know, if you put up
MSNBC.
So can you pause it? I'm sorry, I meant to say this before you started it.
We just have
but it was good. It's good that it's good because it refreshes people's faith. Because what I was gonna say, Matt, this is what I mean by, and I love Matt Taibbi. He is not the person to debate. Like, he clearly is not picking up on Mehdi is trying to poke him. Mehdi is trying to get,
and I felt for that in my boss
reaction.
debate, guys. I felt for it too. I felt for it too.
So I haven't seen all of it, but I didn't necessarily thought you got all that off your rocker anyway, but
because
I don't know if you got worse as it went on. I don't know if you got worse. The criticism that I got from that debate, which I think is legit, I'm not gonna lie, is I was a little bit unhinged because I got mad like fuck this motherfucker. I was like, who the fuck? Well, you know it's coming from me, so when I see that, I'm like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
So that is legit criticism.
I'm the wrong person, I guess.
I didn't realize how much the way you present yourself in decorum, how important that was in debates. And then people like, man, that nigga Nick was unhinged. I'm like, damn,
well, see, I think it's different.
And that was Mehdi Hasan is trying to bring out Matt Taibbi. He's trying to make him mad.
So I think maybe he'll list the tactic as try to get your opponent off of their game. Maybe he makes it that way, but that's what he's doing right here. And Matt Taibbi eats it right up. Like he hears the insult. That's intentional. And you see when a person is insulting you and they're looking very calm, they're trying to get a reaction out of you. If they're going, yeah, you're a son of a bitch, aren't you? They're trying to get a reaction. If the person is saying it with emotion, then they're literally meaning it, like, let's fight. But if they're trying to get a reaction and yeah, blah, 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 and that's exactly what he's doing. And he got it out of Matt Taibbi. I guarantee you that month between the time he said, invite me on, and this video, he studied what Matt did in his interviews.
Chapter 4, know your opponent.
Yeah, I guarantee you he studied it. I guarantee you he studied it to figure out. Because Matt Taibbi, in some of the interviews I watched of him and some people that brought him on, and it wasn't like Brianna Joy Gray interview. Like, you know what I mean? Like his emotions show immediately. He doesn't hide them at all. So, and that's not necessarily a good thing because it gets you off of your talking points, off of what you should be intellectually saying, and that is literally what just happened to Matt Taibbi. And you can continue.
Yeah,
Hunter Biden. Why not mention that? Did you not know? In which case, that's kind of incompetent. Or did you know and you were just hiding it from people?
Incompetent?
I mean, if you didn't know, if you put up
MSNBC. My God, you got 6 consecutive years of just screw-ups on the Russia story.
Well, that was predictable. If we're going to do predictable. Can you answer the question? Did you know what was in the URLs when you posted them? It's a simple question.
What was in the URLs?
Why didn't you tell us?
I don't need to.
Because it's relevant. You don't think it's relevant that it's a violation of Twitter's terms of service to have nude pictures of Hunter Biden up?
Look, every time
what does that have to do with the freaking censorship?
Yes.
What does this have to do? This is a tactic. Could get this is a CIA tactic. Change the subject, like get them on talking about something completely different. And that's what he has. Like, what does this have to do with the censorship that you said? Because remember, this all goes back to what he said. Do I think they're doing too cozy? Do I think this and it? Yes. Or do I think it's censorship? No. What does that have to do with this? Are you saying because they didn't censorship Hunter Biden's new pictures, somehow I don't understand what the point is, man. Do you?
he doing anything he can to avoid what made the Twitter files great journalism, why it's important, why exposing censorship is important. So he's trying to make it about these tactical errors, the professional managerial class errors. And by doing so, and I'm playing just I'll play a few more of this because I still got a lot of receipts to go through. This is probably gonna be a long story today, but
it's fine. I'm fine with it because I'm
down too. It might be a long story.
I'm learning. Yeah, I'm learning.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let it play. I still got a lot of explain here. I got a lot of explain, so I'm gonna let it play here. And you guys see because we still got a lot of dive in here.
They're doing what you're arguing. They're making the argument that we're not actually asking. This isn't censoring. This is just the government pointing out that
that's what the emails show that you posted. They don't demand anything, do they? They say, can you check if this is in line with your terms of service? And those URLs weren't. So I'm wondering why you wouldn't mention that.
First of all,
he's not taking control of the conversation. He has to, like, when it's off of the track, the person is and you did this, Nick, with Marianne Williamson. She's intentionally taken a conversation away from your question. Then you go, no, Sabby. Let me ask again, because she intentionally took it away from the same thing he's doing. And Matt Taibbi tried for a second to bring it back, and then Mehdi is like, no, we're going back away from this. And I wouldn't allow this. I'll be like, listen, Mehdi, I'm not here to talk about Hunter Biden. I'm here to talk about government censorship.
Yeah. And
I'm not talking about anything else. If you want to talk about that, let's go. If you want to talk about this, I'm just going to back out. Oh, you can't handle it? Yo, I can't. So do you want to talk about it, or I'll back out? Because that's how you have to treat this kind of person. This kind of person, and Cenk would be the same way. Like, you have to treat these type of people. They're trying to rile you up. When you don't have the facts, you argue process. And that's what he's doing here.
Yep. I'm gonna let it play, because you're gonna see more of that in this.
Jesus.
Because as he continue to get rocked in this conversation, he's gonna get more. He's gonna get more desperate.
Doing this, it's self-evident what they're doing, and I don't have to make claims about what it is. I can just show you what they're doing. Everybody knows.
You didn't, Matt. That's the problem. You didn't show the world that the Biden campaign asked for nude images. You didn't. Other people pointed out what those URLs were. You never did. And that's the problem, Matt. There's a lot of omission.
There's a lot that I wrote. Am I going to describe every single thing that I published?
That was the first Twitter file and the most viral tweet. Noam Chomsky, who you know and I know and we like,
which is about a subject you guys screwed up.
Said one of the, and we'll come back to that, has said one of the greatest forms.
So if I remember right, because this is when he was like, I picked this one because this is the most viral tweet. Bullshit. Mehdi Hasan is not going to invite him on to talk about the tweet thread that exposed the Ukraine censorship program. So he picked this one. I'm going to pick the one I can pick apart. And then come up with a bullshit reason why I picked it. Get out of here. It's so ridiculous.
Forms of censorship in the media is censorship by omission. You've heard that quote. There's a lot of omission in the Twitter files. A lot you and your colleagues don't tell us. You mentioned in passing, for example, in your very...
MSNBC knows, especially Mehdi Hasan, knows everything about lying about omission. So he's speaking out professional expertise here.
First read that the Trump White House made requests of Twitter too, i.e. the actual government, not the Biden campaign. But you didn't tell us what those Trump requests were. It took an actual Twitter whistleblower. Well, it took an actual Twitter whistleblower in front of Congress to reveal that Trump once demanded Twitter take down a mean tweet about him from the model Chrissy Teigen. Yet you didn't mention that in any of your Twitter files posts.
Because I didn't have that story. I don't have it.
Doesn't that tell you something? That you had the Biden story and not the Trump story, that Elon Musk was giving you one side of the story.
You see how he's keeping this red blue. This is so disgusting. This is so disgusting. I don't understand. Nick, I am so like, I don't understand how we are able to act like we're going to team up with people like this. And people who, like, I don't understand this.
You'll be like, come on, man.
It is not a possibility. It's literally not a possibility. These people are slimy people. This professional class moron right here is literally like the left, Nick. The left is the mouthpiece now for the state, for the FBI. You're shielding them now?
And the thing is, I told you guys, I'm down to work with anyone on goals, liberals or conservatives, no matter what. But the people who frustrate me the most, you guys see my criticisms and my frustration, with the people who like criticize the rally against the War Machine rally. They say I will never attend that rally because I don't want to organize with libertarians. But they will organize with these liberal scumbags who defend the government censorship, who are pro-war. These people are as disgusting as anyone else you can point to in our society. The liberal journalists who lie, these people who betrayed all their values, like Mehdi Hasan has done.
Yeah.
He used to report on war. Now he became a mouthpiece of the weapon defense contractors that pay his bills.
The Ryan Grahams. We have a lot. We have, you notice, Nick, that the left has a lot of supposed journalists embedded in the supposed left. The right doesn't have that. You can't name figures in the right. That's it. You can name like figures, but they're not supposedly embedded in the movement like supposedly Mehdi Hasan is and Ryan Grimm is. It's complete. It's almost like feel like this is almost like a psyop.
It definitely is. But let's continue here.
Batch of files resulted in the firing of Twitter's general counsel. We were looking at something on a very short time frame, but we didn't have it. I went out of my way to report that fact. I was the first person who reported that Donald Trump made requests and had them honored on Twitter.
But you outlined which ones the Biden team did without giving full context, but you didn't outline.
You gotta see chapter number 5. Whenever your opponent says something that directly disputes what you're arguing against, cut him off immediately. Because Mehdi Hasan accused him by lying about omissions, but Matt Taibbi accurately points out he was the one who mentioned that the Trump campaign also put in requests. And then they say, "Oh my God, Matt Taibbi left that out." Sir, how do you know that though? You got it from Matt Taibbi.
No, he said it earlier. He said he didn't have the details. Like you can see, they made requests, but he didn't have the story. That's what he keeps saying. But Mehdi Hasan is trying to make it like, so you got it and you just left it out. No, nigga, I didn't have it. He's trying to make it seem like he's a conservative plant, as if he's only doing it on purpose. That's what he's trying to make it seem like. And this is what, to me, makes him slimy and disgusting. It's like, do you think he doesn't intellectually know that? And he's just playing, as he knows he's using this interview as a tool for the ruling class. And like he knows that. He's not stupid. So it's not like he's gullible, like he's being led astray and he's just gullible about this. This is pretty disgusting. But I always thought this guy was disgusting. I never liked this person at all. Ever. Like, I never liked this person. I didn't know him during the Obama years. I've only known this guy for like 2 years. In the last 2 years, he's been terrible. So I only know
he always gave me heebie-jeebies.
Yeah,
he always gave me the heebie-jeebies because even though I wasn't as disciplined as like a Marxist I was always like anti-two-party duopoly. Remember, guys, I still voted for Joe Stein in 2016. So I saw this dude, despite how progressive he sounded, he like, don't worry, guys. I know Hillary Clinton did all the evil shit I talked about, but we should vote for her. Like that was one of them things that like, that was like one of them. In 16 on Hillary Clinton and then Biden in 2020 would become one of my litmus tests. Like, I don't really believe you if you advocate for that at the end of the day. And
that's exactly what Marianne Williamson is gonna do.
Yep. Let's go. Let's continue here.
I didn't have it.
Maybe you should ask yourself why it is you didn't have it. Let me ask you this. A
lot of
profiles reporting shows top Twitter employees
they don't have it either, by the way. The whistleblower in Congress didn't have it either.
I know, but she did say under oath that this actually happened, so you can accuse her of what you want later.
I don't have to accuse them.
So it sounds like you are. With out of interest, Matt, the emails you show really difficult content moderation decisions. They don't show Twitter rolling over. They show people actually having really interesting discussions, unlike now where Elon Musk just dictates that NPR is state affiliated and it happens overnight. They also show Twitter resisting requests to things that members of Congress have asked them to take down, members of the FBI. So I wonder, how do you call this a censorship industrial complex when Twitter, according to your own files, is saying no a lot of the time? I mean, if it was censorship, they'd have just rolled over every time Agent Chan of the FBI or Congressman Adam Schiff made a demand.
Can you pause it?
Yeah.
I published it.
So I guess by this standard, unless every single cop is killing every single person they're encountering, nothing's wrong with the police. That's what he's basically saying here. It may not happen in every single instance. But the way that he's painting the picture, if it doesn't happen in every single instance, there must be something fishy here. And that's the point I was trying to illustrate.
How does Mehdi Point even dispute the censorship that has gone on, though? Just because the government didn't answer every censorship request, that does not literally overwrite the fact that Twitter deboosted people who was challenging the COVID narrative. My question is, how does Mehdi Hasan's question debunk that fact? Just because they didn't censor everybody, but they censored the people who was talking about COVID. They will censor the people who was speaking about Ukraine. So how is your question relevant? It's not. It is not. But let's continue.
And Matt Taibbi actually brings this point up himself. He himself brings up saying, "Hey, some of the requests were turned down." Like, so intellectually lazy.
It's so weak, dude. I cannot believe people.
Yeah,
and we didn't get to this part after the video, but I'm gonna show you guys the people who believe this performance that we destroyed this far was amazing. The Mehdi Hasan slayed the Matt Taibbi. Anyway, let's continue.
Which
I'll show you guys that later.
Describes Twitter's internal ads policy, where they say publicly, we are going to represent that we make these decisions at our sole discretion. Internally, we are going to act when the U.S. intelligence agency, the U.S. intelligence community, that's the quote, when the U.S. intelligence community determines that an account is linked to a foreign malign threat actor. So they're talking about their two-phase system in the document. Now, but yes.
But your words, Matt, you say, to their credit, they turned down requests. You say it yourself. Those are your words in the Twitter files.
Yeah, they did, but this is a
what does
story
that mean?
that
doesn't mean anything.
The government is.
No, you can keep it going. I was just saying that doesn't mean anything.
I feel like that point is obvious. Like, so it's like this is so, like, you guys see, this is desperate. I'm gonna let it play, but this is desperate.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let it play. You feel free to interrupt anytime, but I'm gonna let it play.
No, what this only works for people who already don't like Matt Taibbi.
Yeah, this is literally the only people.
That's the only people this works for. Yeah, it doesn't work for anybody.
I'm confident in that fact. My faith in humanity depends on
only applying pressure to these companies. It starts with a baseline of them not wanting to be engaged at all with the government, or to have a very limited relationship. The door gets kicked open when in 2017, particularly in the fall of 2017, when the Senate Intelligence Committee starts leaning on Twitter to endorse their accusations that there had been a substantial number of bots linked to Russia's Internet Research Agency. And essentially, it was made plain to Twitter that they would both be subject to lots of bad press and perhaps increased regulation if they didn't communicate with the Senate Intelligence Committee in the way that they wanted.
But communicating is not rolling over, Matt.
Matt makes the point that you guys see he does it again. He does it as soon as Matt makes the point that dispute his argument, he starts interrupting him. How do people not see this? I keep my point short in there. You guys see, it's obvious. So, because he just said that the government made clear, and they used to have these Twitter people at Congress. They used to threaten them. Like, they made it clear, like, if you don't follow our requests often enough, we're gonna come after you guys, and they did, and that was the point.
And that's a tactic.
And still make the point, and still Matt Taibbi make the point. Mehdi Hasan cuts him off again.
That's a tactic. Pathetic. Like you said earlier, that is definitely a tactic. When he hears a good point, he can't let you keep furthering that point and keep talking that. So he has to cut it where that is, and let me transition. Let me insert. That's what he's clearly doing, and this is like the fifth time that he's done it.
Yep.
They didn't. They did. Adam Schiff says take down a tweet, and they don't, according to your own files.
What's Adam Schiff going to do? Is Adam Schiff the CIA? Is the CIA going to come to Twitter and say?
So do you have evidence? So do you have evidence that the CIA demanded a tweet got taken down and they did it immediately? I haven't seen it.
We think it's the CIA, that quote unquote other government agencies. We know that the CIA was present.
You think it's the CIA? You began the interview saying you don't make claims; it's just evidence. Okay, let's talk about your evidence, Matt. Because people
quote me directly.
It's no like this is so like, one, this is not a debate, and this is so like, and sorry, I know you're an ex-car salesman. This is so slimy ex-car salesman.
Yeah, no, I know what you guys mean. That doesn't hurt.
Yeah. But you know the expression. But this is so
those are the people who don't make
where
it.
you're not being completely honest, and you know it, and you're being slick and saying little sly. Like, this is so not. He is not here, Nick, to be an intellectual and talk about policy and talk about. That's not what this was about. This was about that, and it's on TV, so I guess it wouldn't play for good TV. This is about bringing somebody on and do what TV wants, fighting and hissing and bickering and back and forth, and with no substance at all. He can't talk about what the Twitter files is uncovering about Ukraine because his channel is for the war. Yeah. The network he's with.
He's for the war.
Yes.
He's for the war. But let's
exactly. What am I quoting? You just said this. We think it's the CIA. I said I haven't seen a single Twitter file.
I did.
Where the CIA tells Yoel Roth to take it down.
We showed reports that came through the Foreign Interference Task Force. We know it came through the FBI. We know that's the destination by which it came, but the origin of the document we couldn't determine because, and there's lots of these. We have hundreds.
There are lots of these, and Twitter doesn't deny that.
He doesn't want him to make this point. He doesn't want him to make this point.
And you're going to let me answer the question because you're accusing me of getting this wrong. So these documents. I went out and I talked to every former intelligence person from every agency that I could to try to identify where these documents came from. And I ended up quoting, I think I quoted John Kiriakou and I think one other person is saying that looks about right. Because the people that I talked to thought that this was probably a CIA document, that they thought that it looked like that. It could have been from some other agencies, but I did what I put the document up and I said, this is what it looks like. This is what these people thought it was. I reported that other people talked about OGA, that's.
And I'm not, Matt, just to be clear, I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing any of that. I'm saying there's no evidence that the government is ordering Twitter to take a bunch of stuff down and Twitter's agreeing to everything. Twitter.
You guys hear what he just said? This is the core argument that shitlibs are making. CJ, audience,
I don't understand this. I don't understand this.
They are making the argument that after everything we've seen with the Twitter files, after the Ukraine files were exposed, how they was deplatforming, throttling the accounts for shifting the Ukraine narrative. The argument they are making is there's no evidence that the government was actually making these orders and Twitter was following them. Anyone who is on Twitter like I am, know that it's bullshit. My criticism of the Twitter files is that it didn't expose enough. Remember, CJ?
Yeah.
I was like, it didn't expose how the left accounts was being obviously censored, obviously deplatformed. Like this is, and his argument is that, oh my, you have no proof that government is actually censoring these accounts. What? That's directly what the Twitter files prove on the Ukraine thing. It was shown that people who was criticizing the COVID narrative, the people who was criticizing mandates, their tweets was not allowed to trend. That's what was shown. But according to him, that wasn't Twitter listening to the government. They just decided to do it out of nowhere. It's an absurd take. But let's continue. We're almost done here.
Hold on, let me finish. I'll let you finish. Let me finish. Twitter put out a report in 2021, as you know, which must shut down, a transparency report where they said the government asked us to take stuff down, and we took down 40% of what we were asked to take down. They've never denied that they take stuff down. Yeah, I think it's serious. I think if you were right, it would be 100%. The fact that it's not 100%, the majority of stuff they turned down doesn't tell me there's a censorship complex. I don't understand how it. Do I think it's serious that they take down 40% of stuff? Maybe, but that's not. Nothing you showed suggests. In fact, the agent from the
he's
FBI
intentionally talking
saying, hey,
over him, Nick. He's like, this guy is good. He's identified, and I've heard of this entire conversation. There's a sound problem with Matt's. Maybe it's not a problem. He just doesn't have the quality of sound that is coming out of the Matt Taibbi side. So there's an echo or there's a pause. There's like a pause that comes over Matt, and where you can't hear a couple of his words, and then you'll hear him talk, almost like it's a walkie-talkie, but that's not what it is. And Mehdi has picked up on that. So he'll go like, when Matt talks, like what kids do, when you're trying to bother your brother, every time he speaks, and he's trying to do that to cut off so you can't hear what he's saying. He knows what the point this guy is trying to make here.
Yeah, Twitter used to put warnings on stories that reported on Hunter's Biden laptop. But the argument that Mehdi Hasan is making is there's no government censorship because they didn't censor everything the government wanted. There's evidence that shows that they deboosted and they censored the COVID narrative. They censored the COVID narrative, but since they didn't censor some guy complaining about another post, that COVID narrative censorship didn't happen according to Hasan. That
was the point I was making earlier. Unless it's all of it, unless it happens every time, then it doesn't. Like that is so.
It's so weak, man. It's such a weak argument.
Do you mind taking this? Do you mind looking?
I'm gonna play. I'll play a few more minutes. And I'm gonna get to some other receipts as well because I think the last part Mehdi tweets out, so we don't get to a particular part. I'm gonna play from that Twitter clip.
At this and seeing if it's in line with your terms of service. That is not the police state that I think is being painted by Jim Jordan. By the way,
what? Come on, bro. Come on. So he's using Jim Jordan, CJ. He's taking a clown Republican and he's saying Jim Jordan is wrong about the Twitter files and his interpretation. So there's no government censorship going on. You see how he take the crazy?
Well, yeah.
So the intellectually honest lefty, like I would think of myself as, right? We would see our criticism is the government and Twitter censoring anti-imperialist and activist accounts, right? Now Mehdi like completely shifts the conversation on his head by bringing
marry it to Jim.
They bring up to the right wing. Oh, this is the right wing that pushing this, and you legitimize it. No, there's a lot of left criticism of what Twitter has been doing.
Yeah, and Matt should have chimed in here because you know who else tried to do this? Another slimy, disgusting person in the media. Ryan Grimm tried to do this. Remember, he said, "You guys, RBN wants somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, right?" And was like, no. And that's exactly he's trying. So Ryan was trying to tie us to a loon. RBN wants somebody like Marjorie because that's all. People wouldn't have been like minus the crazy shit because he did say that minus the crazy shit. Nobody will remember that line as that. They would have just said RBN is down with MT. Want somebody like MTG. Yeah. And that's what he's doing here. It's pretty slimy and disgusting.
Yeah, he bring up Jim Jordan as if that's the prime argument that's being put.
Yeah, like not a lot of people haven't wrote about this.
The point is
edges. Go ahead.
That's Taibbi's job as a journalist is to drop the Twitter files and then you interpret it as you like, as someone who's consuming his work as a journalist. Mehdi Hasan is taking Jim Jordan's interpretation of the Twitter files. He said, "Oh my God, why is people like Jim Jordan interpreting like this? Isn't that because you're bad journalism?" It's not Matt Taibbi's fault that Jim Jordan out there being a fucking dumbass. And I'm making the argument simple. I'm assuming he is, just for simplicity. Assuming he is. Let's say everything he said about Twitter files is false. That does not disprove the point that in the work that is shown in Twitter files, and that is what Mehdi Hasan is arguing here.
And let me say this part before you, because you might. Go ahead. No, actually, I can wait. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll play a little bit more of the video.
Yes, Matt. Let's talk factual actually. Stanford. You talk a lot about the Election Integrity Project in the Twitter files, which Stanford and the University of Washington founded to monitor attacks on our elections. And you say some stuff about them that a lot of your critics say is not true, and that affects your credibility. You said the EIP was founded in response to the government dropping its proposal for a disinformation governance. Well, there you are. We're quoting you on screen. It wasn't. It was formed 2 years earlier. You suggest it was government funded, even though during the 2020 election that you're covering, it wasn't. You say they labeled 22 million tweets as misinformation in the run-up to the 2020 vote. They didn't. They flagged 3,000 election misinformation tweets for labeling, so you were only 21,997,000 off. And you also claim the EIP was, let me finish the question, you can come back in. You also claim the EIP was partnered with the government Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, CISA, to censor Twitter, but you mix up CISA, CISA, a Homeland Security Agency, with the Center for...
So I'm gonna let it play. I'm gonna let it play a little bit more here, but because I got some Aaron Monte has been on top of this, where he fact checks Mehdi Hasan's fact checks, and at this point he is literally complaining that he did a typo here. Listen to this part. Okay, I'm gonna let it play more, but I want you guys to know everything he's complaining here is literally typos, errors, and a lot of them is overblown. I'm gonna show you guys that soon.
CISA. CISA, a Homeland Security Agency, with the Center for Internet Security, the CIS, which is a non-profit. In fact, you added an A to CIS. I think people can see it there.
He added an A. Oh my God!
To make that false claim, it's just error after error, Matt, on just this one topic.
Bro, he is calling him out for adding an A here. and this harms your credibility. They completely debunks the Ukraine thing about the Twitter files, apparently. In the professional managerial class, because this is the part of the clip, I don't have to go to it, because it's the clip that I wanted at least to show this part, because it's the clip they posted out, and this is the part that got 40,000 likes, whatever. We're like, look at him point out his factual errors, his typos, his lack of professionalism.
This is like saying I have it's like going to court. We got somebody for murder here, and then you're pointing out a typo. Look down here on this affidavit right here. Look at the address. It says Cole when it should have said cool. That's it. Look at this. What is this, man? What are you doing? It's just error after error. Let the defendant go. That's what's basically what he's trying to say here. Like, you're trying to point out a typo, a written error, or a written mistake. Let's say it's a written mistake, and to say a written mistake exonerates the avalanche of evidence that we have here of censorship going on. It is so weak. It only could work for the professional managerial class, which is the #1 weak class out here, is the professional managerial class. It is such a weak argument.
Absolutely weak argument. And once again, we're going to get to these core arguments here soon, but watch how desperate this is.
But the other ones aren't. The 22 million number came from their own report.
Yeah, it came from a report in March. Do you know what the 22 million number is, Matt? Can you tell me? Because we checked. 22 million is the number of tweets about election misinformation that they just mapped. How many tweets were they? The ones they actually flagged to Twitter before the election, 22 million came after the election. It wasn't in the run-up. They flagged 3,000. So you were off by 21,997,000. That's another error.
They've said a lot of things.
It has nothing to do with censorship.
What is this? This has nothing to do with the substance.
This has nothing to do with censorship. But what he did, Nick, and this was completely strategized for this interview. All he did was take red meat information for the blue team. You think about what he's picking here to talk about. He just took red meat, like coach, not culture warrior, but red meat for the base, and said, let's talk about these things. Election. What do you mean? You talking about election? Have you heard about January? You get what I'm saying? It's like he's taking the election, election issues that we're having, and he's making that the issue that they're arguing Twitter files, knowing that we have January 6th, knowing that we have them talking about election deniers. He's taking subjects that he knows the blue team cares about and has already have decided to be on what side.